really say that? Because it's really weird. You know how people just wait and they're staring at the camera and you think, hello, you're on. I don't want to be that person. But I don't want to start with Om Havarim either. So it's a little weird. And I get nervous every time still. And I think, Abba, is there going to be a time where I trust you so much that I hit live and I don't feel like I'm going to throw up? And I don't get an answer to that. I'm pretty sure that means probably not. So, shalom, here we are. And welcome to all of you I know, and all of you who are new, all of you who come after today, whenever you join us, whenever the Father draws you here. Praise Abba, I'm glad you're here. And I pray all the time, that the Father really shields you from me, such that he is so magnified that all you can hear is him and his message for you, because that's what this is all about. And speaking of that, I want to give a big shout out to our sister Della Horvath. The Father impressed on her to call me this afternoon, and every word out of her mouth was a witness to scary things that the Father has been revealing to me. And it's scary in that I thought, is that really what you're saying? Is that really what you want? Show me. I don't want me. I want you. I desire your desires. Please show me for sure. And she called and said everything he had shown me. It's like, where's my bell? Wait, hold on. I gotta ring it. Ring it for Abba Father and his rod of authority working through Della. Hallelujah. Because the seed came out her mouth, the fruit of his working in her. And I just praise Abba for that. And thank you, Della, for listening to his voice and sharing with your sister according to what the Father had you share. It's all about him and his word working in us and us being a witness. There we have, I love the bell, and I'll ring it again just for you. Speaking of the bell, did you guys see the bell in the picture? I know we aren't supposed to tell what we see, but there was a bell in it. I just thought that was so funny. But speaking of the picture, in the community tab, I hope you guys are checking the community tab regularly, because I know you aren't getting notifications. I'm not. I'm not getting notifications for Vanessa's posts, and she's posting beautiful things that Abba is leading her to put up, and I have to remember, or at least he calls to my memory, hey, check out Vanessa's channel, she's put something up, because YouTube is falling down on the job. But the picture is really the inspiration to this Chew on This live stream, and it's so funny because it really is, how I found it is exactly the topic of the Chew on This topic. I sound like an idiot to myself right now, by the way. So it's radios. I used to lament whenever I was stuck in a position to do something I probably wouldn't have chosen to do, like watch TV. I'm really not into TV these days. And yet, I'm expected to watch TV, and, you know, I used to lament it, and now I think, okay, Abba, what are we going to learn today? Or not we, really, but me. What are you going to teach me? And this time, it was this American Pickers. You know that show where they go around the country and go through people's trash? I mean, collections. This guy had a collection of radios, And that picture is an ad for the magic dial. And what was Tiffany's study? I think it was right before that. Maribel saying I didn't get the thumbnail. Well, you go to community tab to see the picture. I used the picture for the thumbnail, but you're not going to see it all in the thumbnail. So you got to go to the community tab and you'll see the whole picture. And that picture is of an advertisement that the guy had who collected radios. The whole show was about radio this and radio that, and this radio works this way, and this radio works that way, and a radio. And it was right after Tiffany had put up her latest study, and she breezed by something really important. And she breezed by it because the Father instructed her, put it in there, but don't focus on it too much. Those who pick up on it, pick up on it. Those who don't, don't. And it was about magic and the light and the dark. And we've been talking about how all the Odiot have light and dark meaning. It's very important. And what did Abba put in front of my eyes but the magic dial held by clearly a depiction of the hand of God? Which, by the way, I'll spill the beans on something I saw. His sleeve is a shofar. So anyway, I couldn't hold it in. But the radio concept, he said to me, chew on this. Like, okay, frequency. We've been talking about frequency. That was in Tiffany's study too. Remember the mem? She actually had a picture of mem air waves. And the Father called to our attention before she made her study, as he was working it out, that mem also refers to air. And I happen to know that because in the major I picked, the one that I was failing out of and then switched to get my math degree, was engineering. And I had taken a fluid dynamics dynamics course that showed me, hey, air behaves exactly physics-wise as a liquid. And everything applies to air as it does water, blood, what's in the rod, the living water, the seed water, all of it. And he said, look, the principalities and powers of the air use waves to communicate to you. That's how in the physical, the spiritual beings speak to you, including Abba Father, Yahweh. He has to speak to us through the physical. And when we're talking about the battle of the mind, in Tiffany's studies and in Ephesians 5 or 6, where it talks about our struggles not against flesh and blood, but what's in the air. What's in the air. And he said, look, recognizing my voice is about being tuned to my frequency. And it's not that you can't hear other things, but you know how we actually say in life, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, I tuned you out. Or when we're talking to other people and we get the idea they're not listening, they're somewhere else. They've tuned us out. The reason I picked up on this at all and saw Magic Dial and saw the Odiot in this American Pickers show and saw the battle of the mind is in the air, the principalities and powers of the air, hello, is that I wasn't sitting there talking to myself with my arms folded. Why do I have to watch TV? Because I was open. my frequency was tuned to the Father's frequency, and he is talking a blue streak. His radio waves are there for us to tune into all the time. And if we're not hearing him, it isn't because he isn't broadcasting. It's because we're tuned to our own desires or someone else's desires that we want to please them. We're yoked to him, so therefore we're always in range. You know, he talked to me about a CB radio. A CB radio is used for traveling. And you have to be traveling closely with someone to stay in communication with them. If one takes an exit, hello, hello, that's why I named this, Have You Got Your Ears On? Because I am just on the cusp of being too young to not remember this, but I do remember. Have you got your ears on is putting out a hello. Are you in range? Is someone I know in range? Do you hear me on my frequency? And that's what the Father is saying. That's desire. He desires us. He's saying, hello, have you got your ears on? Breaker, breaker, 19. I don't know what that means, but I kind of remember that from TV. But I actually remember having a CB, and get this, when my mom and I were alone, and I'm quoting alone because we're going to get to that later, Abba willing, I remember. He causes me to zakar. She had a dear friend that said no woman and her 5-year-old child should be alone in the car without a way to contact someone if they have flat or car trouble or something. He got us a CB. And my mom's handle that she picked was sunflower. And isn't a sunflower a great big rod of Yahweh with seed in it? And get this, it gets better. She said, what would you like your handle to be? And true to form, she did not guide me in something I could choose myself. She taught me to think for myself. And I thought about it and thought about it. Seems to me I took quite a while, because I thought, this is important. Whatever I pick, that's it. And I picked You crying yet, Mama? You remember? Sunflower seed. Sunflower seed. Father's rod. The seed. Yeah. Where are my paper towels? Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I gotta powder my nose. Shalom. Can you guys see me? I don't know what's happening. I see blue. I'd walk a camel for a mile. Oh, I love you too, Ken. Hello? Hey, I got Dana. Thank you. Yay, you're back. And I think it says, woo, 26 minutes. I was thinking, I was going to say afraid, but I really wasn't afraid because you're Ray Yahweh. Woo! I was thinking maybe he saw fit to erase 26 minutes worth of whatever I said before now. But praise Abba, I think that was my mom. Oh, my mom. Hi, I'm on. Thank you. All right, here we are. Now, as usual, when things go down and I don't realize it, who knows what I said, and it I was talking to myself. Ooh, I know why he had that happen. I'm supposed to talk to you about talking to yourself and the CB radio. I didn't have that in my notes. I wouldn't have thought of it. Praise Abba. This is so exciting. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay, talking to yourself. Now, a two-way radio. If you're talking to yourself, you're also receiving from yourself because you're on your own frequency. And here's a big one. A lot of people, including me, most of my life, confused prayer with talking with yourself, even though I said, dear God, I had my hands and I was bowed. But I was really talking to myself because I wasn't tuned to the Father's frequency. I wasn't expecting to receive. I didn't have, pay and palal. It's the mouth, and we think of the mouth ordinarily with speaking. And so we're like, oh yeah, prayer's talking. But what have we been really receiving from Abba in the audio studies? And that's the key, receiving. What have we been receiving? And isn't that a radio word? Receiving. Receiving. Taking the seed in. Then you have lamed, taking the seed in and being steered in a double fashion. Prayer it's not wrong, of course, to speak to the Father. Even Yeshua taught us how to do that. But it's a pretty short number of sentences he taught us to pray. And then the word says, pray continually. And I remember thinking, if he taught us to pray something really short, does pray continually mean to say that over and over again? Because that really would prove irritating to me, let alone, the creator of the universe. So what does that mean? Receive continually. Speak occasionally. But you can certainly receive continually. But if you are tuned to a frequency such that you are talking to yourself, or this is why we're not to speak to the dead, or even rebuke Hashatan ourselves, because when we're speaking to him, we've tuned to his frequency, and it's that much easier for him to speak to us. That's why we say, Yahweh rebuke you, because we're speaking to Yahweh. We're keeping the channel open, our ears tuned to him, not changing the magic dial to pick up other frequencies so that we can talk to them. So praise Abba for my computer just froze up. Like, that was it. I had to reboot, do the whole thing. And when I said, I hope I'm not talking to myself, he said, that was something I spoke to you about a few days ago, but you didn't, note it this morning, so I'm going to cause you to remember now for the Lance. So there's how he works. And if I'd gotten flustered and all upset, oh, my computer's frozen, I don't know, maybe I lost everything, then I wouldn't be tuned into his frequency when I came back. I'd be tuned into my own, talking to myself. This is terrible. I wonder if anyone's still here. I don't know. Why did this have to happen? I'm talking to myself. And then I'm not receiving what it is I'm supposed to share with you. Because this is not my show. And if I were tuned into myself, believe me, you would not want to hear what I had to say. I don't know what it is, but it wouldn't be good. And that's exactly why I said, Abba, I want your thoughts to be my thoughts. I don't like my thoughts. So when we're ruminating and we get hurt or offended or whatever, it's not a terrible thing to have that happen. You can't help what's in the air, the waves of the air, and you are going to pick them up. But don't tune to that frequency and stay on it. Stay on Abba's frequency. And instead of thinking about that and turning it over in your own mind and talking to yourself about it, say, Abba, what would you like me to learn from this experience? Because I've been learning from you that every experience I have is directed by you for me to learn something new about you. So I'm excited and I've got my ears on and I'm ready to receive whatever it is from this experience. And that's another way, tying back to the last two on this, that all things work together for good. If you're tuned to his frequency, you're receiving what he wants you to learn about him and your relationship with him, and that it becomes deeper no matter what. If you're sitting there watching American Pickers to relax when you'd rather be doing something else, and I quote it now because I don't want to be doing anything else. I want to be doing what I'm doing. The freedom in this is mind-blowing. The prison of thinking, oh, if I'm not doing this, I'm not pleasing the Father. If I'm doing that instead, oh, that's not spiritual. Our whole lives, our whole living experiences are yoked to him. Stop compartmentalizing. This is carnal, this is of the flesh, this is of the spirit over here. Merge, he wants them merged. That's why we have living experiences. It's why we have bodies. It's why we have brains. It's why we have senses. If we're tuned to his frequency, that's the key to hidden knowledge. That's the key to receiving it. If you learn with your brain everything Tiffany has shown us, how the Father has actually shown us through Tiffany, I take a shortcut, and that's satanic to say it's Tiffany's study. But if you don't have the key, if you don't have the Ruach teaching you, it means you're not tuned to his frequency. The Ruach is also of the air. He's the wind. If you're not on his wavelength, you can process it with your brain and think you have it. But without that wind, without that frequency, without having your ears on, you miss it all and you don't even know it. So remember that the air is filled, the battle of the mind is filled with a bajillion frequencies, not just demonic voices in the air that they put their mind-bending, mind-influencing thoughts there, but noise, actual sound waves, the TV on, the whatever on, just on. Doing things mindfully in him with your ears on is different than filling your living experience with noise. Be still. Be still no matter what you're doing. Be mindful about what's in your air. Because our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities. Another way of saying flesh and blood isn't just other people. It's our battle is not just what's in the seen, but especially what's in the unseen. Because that's where our treasure is. That's where the kingdom is. That's where the kingdom of darkness is. That's where the kingdom of light is. It's all about the unseen. So tune your frequency to his. Ask him to tune it, actually. It's his magic dial. Say, I desire to be on your frequency. And then everything, you'll see him everywhere in everything. And that's not him, that's Gracie. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves again. Hey, get in here. You're a distraction. But that distraction got me to another point about talk amongst yourselves. Okay, this is a tough one, but the Father has been developing this message for a season. This is rough. Turn off comments under the live streams after they post. Not to turn off the chat, but to turn off comments. And this is, he said, let them know that if they haven't seen it already, that the model of marriage, where Shaul, Paul, says, as the Father leads a couple to abstain from intimacy with each other so that they can focus on their relationship with the Father by themselves and not be distracted by each other and their intimacy, which is a model, actually, of our intimacy with the Father. That's why the rod, the seed, the whole thing. That's a seen model of the unseen. And he's saying, take a break from modeling it and actually do it. Get it? Do it? That was funny. He's making a lot of sex jokes with me. It's pretty funny. And it makes my face get hot. But actually be intimate with him the way intimacy with our spouses models. And he's, we're in a desert time. The darkness is ramping up, and the temptation is to, yes, he does. He wants us to laugh with him, Eric. Praise Abba. He does. That is part of intimacy. Letting your guard down and letting your face turn red, and it's intimate. It's fun. So, the darkness is ramping up, and the temptation is to lean on each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. He gives us each other. But when it becomes, and I'm not saying it has, he hasn't told me it has, he's just saying it can become a lean on each other instead of me type of thing. And he reminded me, of course, there are those of you who really are alone. You're Kodesh to him, and you're alone. And I quote it because he wants you to really process that you are not alone. He will not leave you or forsake you, even if there's no other Kodashim around you on this earth. This earth is not our home. Our citizenship is in the Shamayim, in heaven, with the Father. He sent his Ruach. Yeshua said, I must leave the seen to send you the unseen. And the unseen Father lives on the inside of you. You are not alone. And he wants us to step back. And that is not to forsake the fellowship, okay? That's why he had me bring up the example of a couple that says, let's focus on our individual relationships with Abba, Father, Yahweh, and abstain from intimacy with each other for a time. I don't know how long the time will be, but I have to be obedient, and I trust that you want to be obedient as well. And I'll keep posting in community. Those, oh, by the way, that should be fun. Think of me as his date coordinator. I can set up the date, but I can't force you to have fun on it. Put your notebooks down, put your pens down, and just breathe. Spend time with him. Allow him to call things to mind. He's doing the work, not you. So if you're finding yourself tense and like, oh, I hope I saw everything caregiver saw in this picture, and what if I didn't? And and she said I can't even ask other people what they saw, and how am I going to know if I passed the test? It's not a test. It's fun. It's a fun thing. I see new things in it every time I look at it, but I'm not trying. I just have it up on my computer. I pass by and I say, a shofar! Or sometimes I look at it and I don't see anything. I'm thinking about something else or whatever, but it's not supposed to stress you out. It's supposed to do the opposite. Get up out of that uncomfortable little desk that nobody ever really fit in and go out on the playground. That's what these are for. So I hope you really will enjoy him the way he causes you to. He wants to enjoy you, and he wants you to enjoy him, just like a date. And you men, by the way, that think this is weird, it's a model. This whole intimacy thing is just a model of the Father and humanity. So if you're a human, it applies to you, okay? It's not a man-woman thing. It's an intimacy thing between the creator of the universe and humanity. He's the savior of all. He wants you to have your ears on. Tune in all day, every day, no matter what you're doing, and that is how you pray continually. That's the secret. Oh, and secrets. I changed my avatar to this wax seal. He showed me that my ring is a signet ring, which I knew but I didn't know. And that's what the kings use to give their authority to their servants. That if you had the ring of the Father, which there's a rod, the tent peg, the wah is on this ring. I didn't do it on purpose. I put it on there to remind me I'm yoked to him, like a string on your finger. And he said, I had another purpose in mind for that ring. I want you handling my secrets and seal them with that ring. And so I thought, oh, I bet I could make a wax seal with my ring, and I made it the thumbnail of the handling the secrets of the king. He is awesome. He did all this. I had no idea. He just dropped it on me. Even after the live stream got put up and I already had a thumbnail for it. He's like, no, I got a better one for you. And then he said, that's really the focus. That's why I got you that ring. And so I changed the avatar to the whole channel to his ring of authority, and may I wear it humbly and keep sealing up his messages for you with love and in his authority, and with my head bowed down to the ground until we go home. Let's bow our hearts, speaking of bowing down, before Abba and thank him for another time together. Abba, it's sometimes even too much for this little girl to even think that you would make me your messenger, a messenger of the King of Kings. Keep me bowed down before the King and remember where my authority comes from. As we wait for that great day that our time here is complete, that you make good on your promise, that we know you will, to complete what you have begun in us. We thank you for what you're doing, and we thank you for tuning our hearts to sing your praise. Keep our ears on to you. In Yahweh, through Yeshua, and all the Kodashim said, we agree and we submit to the King. Shalom, Havarim. I'll see you again here or there.